Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Easter.
Yo, what? Yes, happy Easter. Shout out Cosmic Ruckus crew as usual.
I thought I guess I
Sunday
shout out to
nights.
Jesus for Easter. I was like, oh, okay.
No, that was a few episodes ago. You know, I gotta wait.
Yeah.
We
thank
can't
you for
shout him out all
tuning
the
in,
time.
as usual. How was everyone's weekend? Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, was it a long weekend for you, Matt? Because it's a civic holiday. Not everyone gets it off. You get Monday off?
I am off.
Nice.
And I took Thursday and Friday off, so it's been a long week.
Oh,
weekend.
shit.
I work tomorrow, but I had Friday off in return. It's a good
Nice.
trade-off. I like it.
Oh, not
City
bad.
up north rained all. It was like not the best weather at all, which sucks. But I feel like the summer has been like super rainy, like in comparison to like every previous summer we've had. Like I don't think it's been like hot.
Yeah,
Been some pretty hot days.
we've had hot days, but I
But I
wouldn't
feel
say
like
we
it's
have a lot of
rained way
humidity.
more than it's been hot.
Oh,
100%.
absolutely.
In comparison to like previous years.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it just rains like 2-3 times a week, guaranteed.
At least
Yeah,
we
it
didn't.
feels like a very tropical climate this year.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of humidity, which was great. There's just like heat,
Yeah.
then we just rained, and then heat, and then
Yeah.
rain.
Sure.
Have either of you guys seen the new Space Jam or no?
No, and I refuse to watch
No,
it.
absolutely
My
not.
brother Jake saw it, but I didn't have a chance to ask him.
And what? Oh, I was gonna say, what did he rate?
Yeah, I was gonna
it?
say,
Wait,
what-
they said no. They said it was like they thought it was okay, but I'm like, did you guys see like the OG Space Jam?
Yeah.
Speaking.
Because I guess hasn't, so it doesn't matter. For him.
Speaking of space, and not to spoil anything, but I'm about to spoil. Fast 9 is fucking ridiculous. I watched it, and they go to space, and that's the one message I had to send my girl. I'm like,
Wait,
Yo,
so
this- I was like-
tell me Toretto's car just turns into like a rocket ship. like
it
GTA
gets
takes
energy
off.
from all the family, right? So all the family
Oh yeah.
just goes straight for the moon. No. I won't explain it and ruin how they get there, but let's just say like I was trying to give my girl updates on the movie, and the first message I sent her was, "They're literally in outer space. In outer space, this movie is so fucking ridiculous."
I swear when like Fast, or the 7th one anyways, came out, that when it started to get like pretty ridiculous, I swear there were jokes back then where they're like, oh my god, this series is getting so freaking out there, they're gonna have to go to space. And they, lo and behold, I bet Vin Diesel saw that.
You know why?
and
It's
was like,
because
"Oh,
all of
that's
the
a great
directors,
idea."
yeah, everyone they took the feedback. It was
Yeah,
like, just make your dreams come true.
This is what the fans want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they let Reddit decide what the next movie was, and they genuinely took it to heart, and were like, "I guess that's it. The next one is Jurassic World." So
I think it's gonna happen, and I hope to God it does, because that sounds
I
amazing.
think the last one I've seen was like Fast 5. Like, I don't think I've seen past that.
So something to
It's,
note, and you should pay attention to when you're watching the Fast series, because I started to realize, is Dom Toretto becomes stronger in every movie. Like
I know.
in one movie, he stomps the parking lot and it falls apart. In
Oh.
this movie, he
hate that
basically could rip the plant like an apple. Like he was like, he was like fighting people, and I'm like, go. They even when they had Dwayne Johnson, and you know how they always try to make Dwayne Johnson over exaggerate with strength. That times 5. Like they basically made Vin Diesel bald Goku. It's Krillin. It's fucking Krillin.
Bro, you could have said Saitama from One Punch Man, but you went with Krillin, the guy who dies all the time.
Yeah,
who
but then
sucks.
he marries Android 18, so he's a winner.
It's true. It's a big win.
Yeah,
It's a
big win.
You're
Big
right.
win.
You're right.
He has sex with a robot and
Um,
somehow makes a kid. Big win.
She's an android. They can do that. No, so like
My Android phone can't do that. I've had sex with it so many times, and there's
That's
no
why-
babies.
That's why you switched to iPhones.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this
It's harsh shit.
fell for it again.
It's not me. It's you.
I even switched because I thought like the recipe was you had to have 18 different Android phones to make Android 18.
I
So I
spent so
just-
much money.
And every time he tries to return it, they're like, "It's water damage." He's like, "It's not water, baby."
You know what's thicker? You know what's thicker than water?
Family.
Family. Yeah, it's
Sorry. I took
it's all
that
good.
from
It's all good.
you. Yeah, no, me and my wife to be, we started the series and like we've watched all the movies leading up to this because we're like, fuck it, like it's a fun franchise. But then they like released the like, I guess the runtime for Fast 9. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lucas, but isn't it like 3.5 hours?
Something whack, but I mean like
Like I'm not trying to fucking
3 hours?
3.5.
I don't think it was 3. Is it?
I swear the
let me-
runtime.
let's
Someone
see.
please confirm that. Please.
Bro, like
confirm
The Dark Knight was like almost 3, and that was like good story all the way through.
It's
Yeah,
two,
but
two
it's still
hours,
pretty long.
2.5 hours, 2.5 hours.
that.
that's
Okay.
long. That's pretty.
It's
That's
still
pretty
pretty
long.
It's pretty long
Pretty
for a
long,
Fast
yeah.
and Furious movie. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for a Fast and Furious movie.
Well, they try to fit in so much, and the fact that Jason Statham and Dwayne The Rock were both not in it,
Then what the fuck's the point?
yeah, because Hobbs and Shaw, I was like, yo, this spin-off's starting to become pretty good because it was like that full action-packed series, right?
It's like the Transporter. I
It
feel
basically
like Jason
was.
Statham always plays the same
guy.
dude, same
Yeah.
role.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the same guy, like legit same dude.
It
Like,
is the
just
same actor.
crossovers with every,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like his character is the same name and everything amongst all the same movies.
That'd be amazing. Isn't there that Mexican actor who always plays Hector in
Yes,
movies?
yes.
Yeah.
And you know what's
That's
funny?
amazing.
I love how like even in Bruce Almighty, where they didn't say his name, he was just part
Yeah.
of the gang, and a monkey came out of his ass. His name was Hector in that
It's
movie,
still
just
Hector,
for good
yeah.
measure, yeah.
That's amazing. So good.
What is everyone drinking tonight?
I found these things called Founders, and they do like a bunch of different like cocktails. This one specifically is Tequila Paloma. Yo, this is my new jam. I fucking love these things. The Tequila Paloma is really good. The Seville Orange Bourbon Sour. These things are dangerous, man. They're delicious. I love them.
Interesting.
For
Shout out
me-
to Founders.
For me, I'm drinking some Moscato.
What the? I was
You
terrified.
I saw that-
Were you drinking with Scott? I didn't know what you were doing.
Because that's how I went to like this like nice like fine dining, and that's how the waiter told us we had to drink it. So
Bro, you almost
nice.
look like the D's Nuts guy.
ha, got him. I'm gonna put that in when we make clips now.
Perfect.
I'm just drinking Michelob. Went back to that. I might switch up to MGD next week. I might.
What's
grab the
MG?
light
Machine
beer
Gun
for
Kelly?
the- Yeah, Machine Gun Gel. Yeah, MGD's Machine Gun Gelly's dick. Wait, what did I say? Machine Gun.
Good Machine Gun Gelly? Who's
Then,
Gelly?
I don't know what the hell that was.
Machine Gun is one word actually.
Perfect.
So I'm not drinking that. It's weird.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're talking about
Let's talk
about
about sex.
sex, baby. That's what that's what we're talking about. But you know, I figured I'd keep to the theme with this week's joke. So why can't Miss Piggy count to 100?
Oh no.
Let's hear it.
Because every time she gets to 69, she gets a frog in her throat. Just found that one. I was like, "Yo, that's perfect."
That was pretty good. I like it.
That's really good. I have a joke. I'm not trying to overtop your joke. Your joke was good. It's a
That's
pass.
fucked up, bro.
But
You're
But
challenging
there's,
my
no,
joke.
it's because there's my joke
Thanks.
will be outdated by the time it gets back to my joke a week. But I don't know if you guys saw that the states have won gold medals for all their shooting medals, and it just goes to show what you practice in school can make you perfect.
That's fucked. That's good though.
That's
pretty
really fucking funny.
That's
That's pretty
good.
funny. Yikes.
They brought it to the Tokyo Olympics. You think everyone there was just kind of nervous after they won? They're like, oh shit.
Just give him gold. Just give him the gold. Oh, that's good.
They missed all the targets and just shot the announcers. They're like, well, they have to win now.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start it with a bit of something that like I've been talking about lately. I've seen some like Instagram, like IGTVs, like randomly on my Explore. I don't know why, but so the concept of someone who identifies. So sorry, let's take a step back. So with sex, we're just going to talk about really everything around sexuality. So the orientation, actual sex, let's say, and then really everything else.
Well, isn't there like the
Sex,
differentiation between
sexuality.
gender and sex?
Yeah. So
That's a whole debate, but yeah.
So I want to talk about some non-binary as an identity. Like, what? Like, I understand it means that you don't identify as male or female, but like, what does that like really mean?
Okay, so
like, I can't really like grasp that.
So
concept.
we're talking sex. We're talking sex here.
No, we're talking like gender identity, I guess, because sexually you still have to identify as either male. Or
So
female,
yeah,
which
your sex is what
reproductive
your physical characteristics are at birth.
organs. Yes.
So even
Yes.
if you
So I'm saying-
transition, you still have to refer to
Well,
your
if you got, well,
sexes.
really, if you're so let's say you got your anatomy altered, can you then change what your sex is?
No,
I think that's
apparently
the
not.
could.
point of the
I thought you
procedure.
could.
But okay, so the definition of sex is sex refers to a person's physical characteristics at birth, and gender encompasses a person's identities, expressions, and social roles.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds about
So
right.
so let's let's talk about non-binary as a gender identification. I'm curious about this.
Mhm.
What does that really mean when someone says, "I don't identify as male or female" from a gender identity?
Yeah.
Like, what do they say? Like, what are they ultimately trying to say?
To me, how I take it is that you have body parts and organs that identify with both, and therefore you're neither. Is the way I take it, but that is not the way that it is shown.
Yeah.
No, because people just say like I'm non-binary, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, I understand the concept of what you're what they're stating, but what does that mean?
Yeah, I think the way I see it, and I can kind of respect probably the foundations of it all, is that they don't believe in gender roles. So they don't believe that men should be into cars and UFC and things like that, and women shouldn't only like to cook and be the ones taking care of the kids. Is they don't believe in gender roles.
Yeah, how nice
So-
is this bottle? I'm sorry to cut you off.
That is a nice bottle, actually.
Were you
is it
just
blue?
saying that because you're telling Lee that's how you feel? Is just you want him to relax?
No, it's because
Yeah.
I'm a guy and I'm drinking Moscato, which is really sweet wine.
And that's exactly that's a good example there. But yeah, I think
Why-
they just choose not to believe that, so they don't want to conform to societal boundaries, or
Gender roles.
which I mean is weird. Like, I think I'm one of those. I wouldn't say I'm non-binary, but no, I don't believe in gender roles. I'm wearing a fucking pink flower shirt right now.
Yeah.
I've worn Tyson. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
Like, I'm still a man, but
Yeah.
I don't play by your gender
Yeah,
roles.
I-
I don't know.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. Where I don't like that there's a title just because you're wearing or doing something that is classified as, like, let's say feminine. Like and a good
Yeah.
example that I talk about all the time is when I go to a bar, I order the fruitiest drinks ever. I don't care about
Just
having a
delicious.
whiskey on the rocks. Like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, that's not me. And when I get it, people will be like, "Oh, you got the girly drink." It's like, I'm getting the drink that I enjoy, but if
yeah,
it's
like
girly,
I don't
sure.
look at it that way either. It's more like, I guess then that is probably what it is that they don't identify with their the gender roles that exist, but it's like, can't that be done but still identifying as a male or a female? I guess there's that contradictory, because then it's like, I don't believe in the roles, but I'm still going to say that I'm like I guess typically I'm so used to the concept of identifying your gender with your sex.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that the idea that gender is different from sex makes no sense to me, because there was a point in time, and I probably should have had the facts, but there was a guy in a specific point in recent time who just decided he didn't like the definition of gender and changed it to become a social construct, and then it kind of took off, it gained traction. But gender is directly correlated to sex from its origin, from the origin of the word gender and sex.
That
it was
way.
absolutely
Like
connected.
sex and gender were interchangeable on like your driver's license.
Yeah.
Like those meant the same. Whereas now it does not.
No, it doesn't. And for context, like for example, I am a male, and then at different points in life, a male is either called a boy or a man. Like a young male is a boy, an adult male is a man. Whereas for a young
woman,
I was gonna say bovine, it would be a calf, and then an adult bovine would be a bull. Like, it's the same thing we do with animals and stuff. Like, it's just, you're talking about the age of
it's
the sex
I
and
see what you're
species.
saying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that's so
Good
hard. And it shouldn't have any more control over your life than just that. Like,
So-
for example, my sex should change nothing more than my hair color does. Like, oh, my hair's black, cool, great. Like, why does my sex change anything?
So if someone were to come to you and say, like, hey, you know, I identify as this, like, let's say you call them by the wrong pronoun, how would you handle that? If you genuinely felt like this was a male, you know it's a male, they were born a male, they didn't do any transition, they're not doing any estrogen therapy, and they said, I identify as female, How do you handle that situation?
For me, I think it depends on who the person in the situation is. If it's a stranger who I met at a party who said that, I'd just be like, "Oh, sorry," and then I'd probably just avoid them for the rest of the night. Not because I'm transphobic or anything, but because I don't want to be in that situation where someone who's putting in zero effort is demanding me to validate their opinions. Like, I just don't like that. If it's a close friend of mine, we're probably gonna have a deeper conversation than that.
Yeah, because like I haven't experienced anything like that. I don't know about you guys in the workplace yet, where someone identifies differently than what first impression or what like documentation states. Because like I've even seen like some teachers now will post like, or I've seen like posts where teachers now asking like their, in like high school and stuff in their first day or whatever, they when they get to know the class, they get them to submit like a paper, and it says like, what pronouns do you like to be referred as?
Oh wow!
And it's like that. It's interesting that this is now, because even in firefighting. So with Kel taking firefighting down the road, they've actually now said in their training that you have to ask everyone, like, is there a chance that you could be pregnant? Because if someone looks like a man but is transitioned from a woman, she could he or she could technically, whatever they want to do, they could still have the ability to get pregnant. So you literally have to ask, like, is there any chance that you could be pregnant? And I'm like, it's just interesting that that's now part of like, teachings. Now for scenarios like for doctors and stuff. I'm sure they all have similar coaching along those lines.
Well,
I think that's very fascinating. That it's just it's cool to see, and it's interesting seeing how society's evolved, even just like in our lifetimes. Like this is something that wasn't the way wasn't like this like 10 years ago, and now is like it's like that now.
Well, what's interesting too is like even in my studies now, because I'm in human resource studies and we're learning how to type up emails, and now that you shouldn't ever go by, let's say again, email from Josh Smith. I shouldn't ever go Mr. or Mrs. Smith. I should go by their first name. And it's almost like, well, that kind of is unprofessional for me to just start saying their first name from nowhere. Like just being like, hey, Josh, good to see you. Like from a professional standpoint, it doesn't seem professional, but it's now better than running into the altercation of, hi, Mr. Smith, actually identify as Mrs., and then you're already on a bad step. Where it's like, now I'm torn between, hey, like, how much... Like,
but with a name, I mean, over email, too, it's different, because, like, that's a name...
How am I supposed to know?
Some names, like Logan, for example, that you could be either, but with a name like that's very male-dominated, I guess, is the way I'll say it. Yeah. Like, if Matthew, like, if I would assume everyone's going to assume that Matthew is
a guy.
Well, see, as someone who wasn't super sport, like, let's say the name like Taylor. Taylor is a unisex name.
Taylor's
right? And we actually have a coworker named Taylor who I'd never spoken to him over the phone before, and I always assumed it was a girl, and I felt like such a prick when I found out it was a guy. And I'm like, I'm an asshole. Like, luckily I never.
But does that change? Does it change at all, like the interaction or anything like that?
It doesn't change the interaction.
Like, that you had in the past, where you're like, hey, buddy.
No, but it's like
Lukasz now tries to hit on him because he knows it's a guy.
Hey, beautiful. Good morning. Every morning. No, it's like, but it changes your whole perspective because I assume this is a girl, and when you have like, I had like 10 different interactions with this person. Via email, and I just always called them Taylor. I never said Mr., Mrs., whatever have you. And then when I found out it was a guy, I was like, oh, like it just caught me off guard because I didn't expect that. But a lot of unisex names will do that, where it's like you're really playing a roll of the dice of until you know, you know.
That used to happen with our roommate Zach. Everyone always assumed it was like a male. I was like, oh, you used to live with him like a guy, Zach? And I was like, no, Zach's actually.
Yeah, you never expect that.
Yeah, and her full name was Zakita, but she went by Zach.
I mean, go on.
No, I'm going to circle. Sorry, before we leave this topic, one thing I've noticed I've started doing too, just with this being more prevalent, is I used to like casually, like with my internal team, I'd go like, "Hey guys." Now I usually change it to like, "Hey folks," or like, "Hey."
Yeah, I do.
A non-gender specific, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's just.
Guys is
the way we've
neutral.
been, yeah. Like
I feel like guys is gender neutral. I hate to say it, yeah, but like when I say hey guys, I'll do it to a group of 3 girls. I'm like, yo, what's up, guys? Like I'll do that. Like I don't mean it to offend anyone or like to call anyone out. It's just like it's like, hey dudes, like dudettes, we all know is like, oh, it's the female version. It's not an official female version. Dudettes is not a thing. For me saying hey dudes, I just like it. It's comfortable, right?
Same thing, yeah.
But it should always go down with know your audience before you say that kind of stuff. Like if you risk that, then
sure. Well, okay, so yeah, before we move on from this topic, I mean,
I have one other point after too that I want to circle while we're on the topic.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them.
Dovetail.
So what I was gonna say earlier is how there's got to be like a level of I don't know, acknowledgement of these non-binary people and how they present themselves that shouldn't be at the fault of. Okay, this sounds way too fucking cryptic. I'll give an example. When I used to work at Home Depot, there was this one time I was walking down an aisle and I see this customer, and I went and approached him. Spoiler alert: it was a woman, but she had like the military haircut where it's like shaved on the sides and it's like perfectly flat on the top. She had like one of those. It was like really short. She had these glasses on. She had like a plaid shirt tucked into her pants. Like she just presented herself very much like a man. Like there's no, I couldn't fucking tell. And I walk around, I'm like, hey sir, do you need a hand with anything? And then as soon as she like looked at me and gave me this look, and the first words out of her mouth, she was like, no, I'm just looking. But I could tell immediately that it was a woman. Yeah. And they were giving me this look like, what the fuck? Did you just call me sir? And I kind of felt bad, but then I felt like, yo, fuck you. Like, you know what you look like. That can't be on me.
You tricked me.
That's not my fault. Like, that's horse shit.
That's why I think that's why too. A lot of like I'm sure it's been a long time since I worked retail, but I'm sure a lot of the training now is that you're, and that's the thing too, is because we're like, especially us at the age we're at now, like we grew up where it was still like with like clear cut male or like Miss or Mr. right, Mrs. or Mr. Whereas now that this transition's happened, like this is probably not something you'd see a lot in future generations working in retail. But the same thing happened to me. Like I would say like, oh, like hey sir, do you need something? Actually, it used to happen to my grandpa, my tata on my dad's side. People thought he was a woman because he was so short and he's like he's like soft features, like he doesn't have facial hair. Like there were a few times where they're like, oh, your grandma's so cute. I'm like, yeah, that's my grandpa.
He also has a very high pitched voice, which doesn't help.
Yeah, so it's like, it's because now I'm sure a lot of the retail industry just refers to customers as like a very gender neutral.
Hi, customer number 23.
Yeah. Hi, patron.
Yeah.
Patron.
It's just, I feel you on that though. Like that's happened to me, and it's like, yeah.
That's not my fault.
I felt bad too, because it's like, yeah, like I called what I saw. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, you gotta know what you're looking like, what you're leaving the house like.
What's even better is that like customers will call you gender neutral like names, and there is like a bad to good names. Like we were talking about this last time, where it's like if a customer's like, "Hey buddy," you're like, "Ah, oh, this guy's gonna try to take advantage of me." But when he calls you chief, you're like, "Yo, yeah, that's right." That's right.
You're damn right.
But now you can't.
What do you need, man? What do you need?
With everything that's happened with the First Nations, the Aboriginal folk, or Indigenous. I don't know.
But I mean, like,
well, shouldn't you then? Because you're paying respect.
Hey, the Cleveland Braves. The Cleveland Indians changed their names to the Cleveland Guardians.
Guardians. Yeah.
That's right. Sorry.
But all of them will. The Chicago Blackhawks in hockey will change. But anyways, I don't want to stray too far.
Now it's Chicago Blackhawks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A shout out to black.com.
Matt, you said you had another point you want to circle back to?
Yeah, so someone who identifies as non-binary.
Yeah.
So they're stating they don't fall into a gender.
Sure.
What then are their sexual orientation options? I was thinking this through because I was like, how then they can't identify as...
You're not straight or gay or bi.
You're other.
Because you don't identify as a gender. So it's like, what?
Well, would you be bi then? Because other people could still be gendered. Because bi is just you're into both genders, right?
What's the one that you're into all? Is it asexual?
Sure, that too.
It's pansexual.
Is it pansexual?
Yeah, asexual is...
asexual is
not the same way Lukasz is pansexual.
I'm pansexual because I love frying pans, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity. That's pansexual. So I guess they all identify. So then, do all non-binary individuals, are they all pansexual by default?
I would say so.
I mean, it really depends. Because
Well, I know,
what
but I would
what
say
if
so.
you identify as non-binary, but you only like women? Then are you? Because you don't. There's not. That's not heterosexual. Because you are.
You're not.
You're not identifying with.
That's
Because
very
if you
interesting.
only like non-binary, as a non-binary,
Yeah.
then you're hetero, right? If you are non-binary who likes women,
But the odds
are you
if,
are you a half lesbian?
So here's the thing: I think we need to take a step back and say: is sexual orientation based on gender orientation or sexual orientation? Like
Gender. Gender orientation.
Is it though?
Because sexual is what you're born with.
Yes.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. Would my sexual orientation be based to the anatomy, the physical anatomy, or the role, like the gender identity?
So sexual would be your anatomy, where gender would be your social construct.
No, I know, but I'm saying, what is sexual orientation typically in reference to between the two?
Okay, so here's the thing. Sorry, I wouldn't be answering your question. But
Oh, it's because your question sucks. We're gonna just move along. Go ahead, Lee.
Do you get my question though? Does that make sense?
I get it. I don't have an
if
answer.
if I'm saying I'm hetero, does that mean I'm referring to women who sexually identify, like an individual who sexually identifies as a woman, or or someone who's genderly
No.
or whose gender identifies as a woman, or both?
I guess both. Because that's interesting. Because what if someone is technically sexually identified as a man because
As
they're
a
born as a
male.
man?
So then
But-
are you bisexual then?
I don't
If you're into that person?
I was always
That's what I mean.
bisexual, but this just even makes me
This is
confused.
icing
You know?
on the cake.
Yeah, literally.
God damn, that's
That's what I mean.
wild.
Call me the cake and
That's
just
what
put
I
some
mean,
icing
like-
on me.
Like where
What's that even mean?
Oh, it sounds sexy to me. I'm
Wait,
cake
did you say
sexual.
call me a cake so you can put some icing on me? I almost
You
turned
did.
into
I'm a
toaster
master
strudel.
baker, so give me some cream, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'll have to touch base with some of my people in my network that are in the LGBTQ plus community, and
We should definitely get one
there's,
in
like,
here.
if there's an answer to this.
I would love to have a conversation with somebody of the community if they were interested.
Maybe our next guest. I'll see if I can pull some strings.
Make it happen. One of the things I want to touch upon, since we're talking about non-binary and stuff, Lucas, you may have overheard me doing some homework on this person, but Matt, and I guess I'll ask Lucas in case you
You
weren't
did
paying
homework on
attention.
me? Aw.
No, yeah. You heard of this guy? Fuck, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Is it Alok? I think it's like Alok Menon or something like that. Have you heard about him? No.
No.
He's yeah, pull him up for me, Lucas. I'm pretty sure his name's spelled Alok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's this non-binary.
Vade
Right,
Manon.
okay.
Alok Vade Manon.
There you go, that guy. Or okay, I guess I can't say that because this person.
Not that guy,
identif-
yeah, well, piece of shit. You're
Fuck,
you're
no, you know what?
garbage.
You know what? No, here's what's up. I'm gonna call him that guy because I think he's a dirty scumbag, and I will not give him respect. He identifies as non-binary, and let me tell you why. Because I think this ties into the podcast.
Oh,
thing.
dude, this is the guy I saw about the 9 bar. This was one of his IGTV that I saw that made me think about this whole topic.
Oh, when he was talking on that other podcast about like being non-binary and shit, and how he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
saving the
yeah,
world
yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll pull up
yeah,
a picture during clips for anyone who wants to see.
show what he looks like. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's funny because my wife to be actually sent me that clip too. She sent it to me to be like, oh, I want to refer to this later, so like you don't have to watch it. But obviously, I'm super interested in this topic, so I watch it. Did my homework on this guy. I do not like this guy in the slightest, and I'll tell you exactly why. 'Cause again, like I said, I think it ties into it. Is he was discussing the idea of trans people having shared bathrooms with, I suppose, cisgendered people. I don't like that word either, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't like cis as the.
No, that makes no sense.
You
to
actually
me.
can't say it on
Whatever.
Twitch, so
You can't say that
you
word.
can't say cis. No,
What?
you can't say virgin either. Here we are. We're banned.
That's interesting though, because cis is like I'm saying that I'm a. What ultimately
Male
means
who
is that like I'm a man who identifies with like the
Being a man.
existing gender identity.
Well, I guess it's really up to interpretation because some people will take cis as,
No, CIS, not SIS. Like,
Oh.
like a
Yes.
cis male.
Yeah. Yes. cis.
yeah. All I was gonna say, 'cause some people interpret like the term cis with
SI like a sissy.
Like a
You're
simp.
sissy.
yeah, like a simp, which you also can't
Okay.
say.
Yeah. Okay. Circling back before
banned.
we detour too far.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's fine. So they're talking about the conversation of shared bathrooms and stuff, and the argument for the people who are against those bathrooms is it then opens up young children to the potential of danger and molestation and shit like that. I get it. I think there are solutions around it, but that's a fair argument because the standards are so loose today that someone who looks like me, all I have to say is I identify as a woman, and there's a strong enough argument for me to go into a female bathroom. Should I be a twisted individual? It opens people up to harm.
Yeah.
So the people were arguing against that. Now, I don't think that's entirely fair to save the trans community, but it is a real concern to bring up. Sure, whatever. So instead of this guy who identifies as non-binary, he's a very big trans activist. Instead of him arguing that trans people are not a threat, or arguing in a very constructive way, his point was literally this, and this is where I think he's absolutely disgusting. Again, no respect for the guy. He said, I may paraphrase here, but he said something along the lines of like, "Your children are not as straight and narrow as you think they are. Little girls are kinky too."
Oh, that's weird.
Don't sexualize kids
ever. Don't ever do that. And then he proceeds to say there is no such thing as a perfect victim. So he's essentially saying if someone were to go in and do something to a little girl, that she has some of the blame to carry because there's no such thing as a perfect victim.
That's like rape. That's victim blaming rape victims. That's
on a little kid too. Like that's fucked.
Yeah.
He's saying little kids
gross.
are not pure and whatnot. I was like, whoa, bro, kids are absolutely pure until something traumatic happens or they hit puberty and they find the internet. But
yeah,
kids
like
are absolutely
they're innocent. Like you just assume that. Yeah.
So I was like, yo,
no
fuck this guy. He doesn't get my respect. He wants to identify as something. I don't give a shit. You're a man. I don't care.
Yo, Lucas, sorry. I just went to. I just realized my mic was set wrong, so like I have no audio again till just now.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The one thing I warned you about.
I know, no,
my
I know.
god.
So just clip them from your take.
No, just fix your
Amazing.
shit. Yeah,
No, I did now, but the whole up until now. There's nothing, so.
Garbage. Yo, I gotta make more sign language videos.
We covered so much good shit in there too.
I know. Why can't you clip it from yours? But we'll talk about it anyways. After.
Because I didn't already start recording. It's too late.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Which clip it from the YouTube clip.
Download
That's fine.
the
Yeah.
YouTube video.
Download the YouTube.
No, fine.
Anyways, yeah, that's fair. That's
right.
That's,
like
that's
fuck
a
that
weird
guy.
take.
Here's the other thing too, just real quick before we move on from this guy. If you guys haven't seen, I urge anyone watching the audience to look this guy up. He dresses quite out there, and that's fine. Express yourself however you want. But in a lot of his videos and a lot of his like poetry and stuff, he talked about how people make fun of him on the streets and whatnot, and calling it like transphobic or these narrow-minded people who can't accept him, and his fabulousness is too much for them to handle. But honestly, when I look at him, I'm like, bro, like you need to consider that your outfits just look ugly. Like I don't care if it's a man or woman wearing what you're wearing. I'm making fun of them. If I was wearing it, I'd make fun of me. Like your outfits just suck. Like
Right.
There's a level of that to it too, right? Like come on, don't blame this on people being transphobic. You just have shitty fashion.
Yeah,
Like me.
Like Lucas. Yes.
I'm hetero when I
guy.
get this word.
He makes you look good. That's
funny.
I don't know, man. Yesterday I was
feel free
wearing
to
like
move
a penguin button up, and it was pretty fire, actually.
That actually sounds pretty sick.
That sounds good. Yeah.
All right, I didn't want to. That actually took a big chunk. I'm not, that's cool. I'm glad that it did because that was the only point I had around like sexual orientation and stuff like that. But it was just because I watched that and I was curious about that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about sex,
Baby.
So how important would you say quality of sex is to a relationship?
Quality of sex.
Like the physical act.
Yes. Like, so let's say, not necessarily, okay, sure, if you want to type frequency in there too, but it's like, is good or bad sex kind of like a deal or game breaker if it's
I would
like,
say so.
this is the person you want to be with the rest of your life?
Us specifically?
Sure,
I imagine,
but in general, because
okay.
yeah, like so, like for me, like I would say I think it's pretty important because it's like if I'm with this person for the rest of my life, like I don't like if it's something I'm gonna have to do pretty frequently, like I want it to be enjoyable. Like I wouldn't want it to be like oh man, like
gotta get through this one
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's very important. I'd say it's also mentally stimulating. Like sex also
With the
good
right
sex
person, I
increases
agree.
your confidence as a
Mhm.
person, which increases like just good like it's good emotion. Like I hate to say it because I
Yeah.
don't want to sound shallow, but I think having a good physical, emotional, and you know like mix is
Well,
very
shallow.
important to a
I think that's
relationship.
the opposite. That's the opposite.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think
shallow.
that's good. Because I think too, if it's like, let me say it this way: if you have really good emotional connections with someone, that I think it's by default going to increase right out of the gate the quality of
Yes.
the sex. But that I don't. There is still, I think, no, sorry, there is definitely bad, like, just bad sex.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, of course.
I think I might. I mean, I don't disagree with you guys. I think the quality of sex is important because, yeah, if it's something you're gonna be doing, you don't want to have a shitty time. But I don't know that sex, just sex, period. To me personally, I don't know if I rank it super high in a relationship.
So let's say, I get what you're saying, and that's sort of what, like, I don't think I think it's a problem if the relationship you have is based around the quality of the sex.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
If everything else is healthy, but let's say sex is like mediocre or kind of sucks, like, does that change your outlook on the relationship?
Depends. I guess it depends the outcome of your sex. Like, let's say if you're having sex and you're not finishing ever, that would take a toll on you. You'd be sexually frustrated. And I think that
Yeah.
eventually would take a toll emotionally and thing because even if you opened up and said, "Hey, I'm emotionally I'm sexually frustrated, like I'm not finishing or she's not or vice versa, right? Anyone's not finishing that relationship ever." Then you talk about it and nothing gets solved. I think it takes a toll. I think that takes a huge toll because if you're not sexually satisfied, that leads to other shit in the relationship, more problems. I think you need a good mix of that because if you are emotionally satisfied, I think that's the most important. Communication, all that good stuff. Once that is set, the next boundary should be, in my opinion, is that you're physically satisfied, that you're comfortable with this person's body, they're comfortable with yours. It shows vulnerability because if you can present yourself fully naked, fully vulnerable to someone, and you're comfortable with that, that's super important. If you're someone who has sex with your shirt on all the time because you're not comfortable with yourself and they never encourage you to be that, it's another part where it's like, well, that makes you have a wall up at all times because you're never comfortable with your body because it's a physical thing. And then if you're also on top of that not ever finishing as a guy or a girl, and you feel like your partner doesn't really put an effort to show that reciprocation of, like you go down on me, I go down on you. DJ Khaled, shout out to you, bro, because you're a piece of shit. Then it's like that's super. I think that's really bad. Like I think you need both, and in the longevity of a relationship. Again, emotional will always outweigh all the other aspects because there's communication in that, whatever have you.
Yep.
Verbal, I put with emotional, by the way.
Sure.
But I think physical is also super important.
So what if this person was perfect for you in every other aspect, but the sex was like worse than like a blow up doll?
Then they're not perfect for you.
Do you think that's a no? But say everything else is great, or I would even say like perfect, where it's like, think of every aspect of what makes a good partner, but then just think that the only thing is that the sex is absolutely brutal.
So let me turn it around then. If you would you prefer to have average of everything, or perfect of 2 out of 3? I would say average of everything. We hit the spot on everything. It's not amazing in everything, but you're hitting on all 3 notes.
No, but if you say average, if it's average.
Sorry. Okay, it's good. It's good, like slightly above average rather than perfect on 2 out of 3. I'd prefer slightly above average.
I don't
on 3.
know. I don't know. See, because I'll be honest with you. Out of the two of us, being my future wife and myself, I 100% have the lower sex drive of the two of us.
I think I do too. I'm
right?
the same way.
Like me,
I've always been like that. I've never been
same
like
here. Same here.
like we need to have sex all the time.
Yeah, like let's go.
Yeah,
I'm like that with you guys, but not with my girl.
Yeah, like
Well, I'm the
of
same
course,
way. I'm the same way.
yeah, and of course I find her extremely attractive. Like she's a gorgeous woman. Like it's nothing like that. I don't know if it's maybe it's my living arrangements. This is because it's we don't get a whole lot of one-on-one time as it is currently. Maybe that'll change when we're actually together and living together and have our own space. Maybe that'll change. But yeah, her, she'd jump me whenever she could if she if that was available. And me, I'm just like, I love our relationship. We're good. It's not the first thing on my mind. It isn't.
Yeah, and I'm just because I know they're gonna watch this. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that that's the way it is. I'm saying that it's like I'm content. I'm like very easy when it comes to that side. Not easy like
slut
first date, but that's one of my questions after. But it's more like I'm content with how it is now. But if you wanted more, like sure. I don't think it would ever be me that's like I need to have more because I don't, and I don't want it to think that means I don't share the same desire. It's just I think I just value more their presence than actually having to like act on it type of thing.
I think the only way your hypothetical would really get to me is if, let's say, everything else is perfect and the sex is worse than a blow-up doll, but she always wanted it. Like she wanted it like 6 nights a week. Then I'd be like, no, like I'm sleeping with my pillow 6 times a week. Like, no, thank you. Like that's
what if it was bad and you only did it like twice a week? Like really bad.
Like really bad? If it's really bad, then twice a week is too much. Twice a month? Once every bi-weekly with it being really bad? I'm fine. I don't care. I'll be okay.
But yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like I'm not I think it's just a huge benefit if that's the case. But I think it is important. Like it's a great benefit to have, but I do think it's like in my perspective, I wouldn't want. I couldn't do a permanent like my partner for life. Sex was not the greatest.
Yeah, because I mean
that's shallow of me, but that's
No, I don't think so because the way I look at it is, again, sure, I may have the lower libido of the two of us, but in those moments, I want
the libido loca.
Right.
We're about to get fined, bro.
Her libido is loca. No, but in those moments, I do want it to be, passionate, intimate, and not to sound like, those, born again Christians and stuff who wait for marriage because it strengthens. But no, like it's not something that I do just want to throw around all the time.
So. Sorry
you're basically saying you don't just like slang dick around, eh?
No, they gotta pay for it, so they gotta earn it.
They gotta pay for it. You're a prostitute.
Every commercial break. Baby.
Hey, yeah, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. I'm not. It's a scam.
But would you feel
mine's just a scam?
Let's say you're starting to have issues. Let's say you and your partner were not having fulfilling sex. Let's say it lasted a whole year, a year of you not finishing and her not finishing. Would you say that's an issue?
I would say it's an issue, but I think the bigger issue is that you guys didn't deal with it earlier. Like
you gotta talk about it.
I don't think I would have gone a year.
Talk about it.
It wouldn't a year wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But even if you have conversations, sometimes people just don't feel comfortable. Like, I know
maybe that's not your partner. I think. Sorry to cut you off, Lucas. I think if this is your partner for life, there shouldn't be there are going to be conversations that are uncomfortable, but you have to have them.
Yes, I agree.
And if they're not, if you can't, then I think that's not your partner.
So what if you have these conversations and things just don't change? Because people are creatures of habit. You have these conversations, they fix things for a little bit, then it goes back to norm. Their norm being, let's say, unfulfilling for you. You have these conversations over and over, and eventually it just doesn't start fixing things. I guess that.
I think as long as you're calling it out, just say like, "This is how I feel again," and as long as it's not as long as it's something you can work through, then I think that's the most important part. If it's something that you don't, then I think it would be like the same thing as a problem with another aspect of relationship that doesn't get fixed. I think it's in the same. I don't see why it would be viewed any different.
I also feel like if we're in this hypothetical still where the rest of the relationship is perfect, I can't imagine it never working. because I feel like there would just be this open-mindedness that will, for example, it's
You'll
not
do some,
fulfilling.
you'll need accommodations, or
Yes,
you'll
maybe
do
we'll
something.
incorporate some new things and yada yada, and the person
people.
would be open. New people. Can you hold the camera?
A different ear this time.
Yeah, exactly. I think they'd be open to those kinds of things, and I just feel like they would be a solution for everything. And if you can't, maybe the problem's you. Maybe why ain't you getting off?
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that brings me to the next one. Actually, I didn't make a lot of notes for this one, but this
You
is,
surprisingly, and kudos to you. This is like the first time you've made good notes on.
oh, that's fucked, bro. I feel like I usually have pretty decent conversations. So, the next one I have is, let's say you're with a new person, and they're willing to put out on the first date. Is that a bad sign? And I know there's going to be some criteria that might make this a little different. So, for example, let's say you've been talking to this person for quite a while. You know, you've gone back, like, it's not like your first time really meeting them. Like, let's say you've met or you know them from somewhere. Do you take that as a bad? Like, is that like a red flag?
I mean,
you know, in society, I feel like as a whole, a lot of people are like, oh, they put on a first date, like they're easy.
So
or it's like, go on, Lucas. Yeah.
I see it's double standards. If you're willing to put on the first day and so are they, you're just as guilty. Like if you
is
feel
it a bad thing is what my question is more, is it a bad? Like,
no,
is that a bad sign? Or
I think it's a sign of comfort. Like if a good example is like my girl and I, before we got physical, we had FaceTime maybe 3 or 4 times before we had met in person. We didn't do that on the first date, but to me it's like
you did. You did.
I kissed her chin instead of her mouth, bro. It was sick.
Wait, that's
But,
what putting out is when you kiss their chin, actually.
It was like Spider-Man scene.
You slut.
I was like upside down and shit on top of my car. No, but like
my back.
it's all comfort. Like if you're going in with zero information for a hookup, to me that's a different version of I've known this person for a long time. We started dating, and now after a month of talking and we FaceTimed so many times, we've met for the first time due to COVID. We've met and we hooked up. To me, it's like, well, I think those two weigh differently. But I think you're just as guilty as a person. Like double standard's a big point. Like if I were to hook up with someone on the first date, I can't judge them because I should have the same level of disrespect I would give them for that, right? Like, if I'm like, oh, she was down on the first date. Wow, what a bitch. Like, I should be just as guilty on that. I'm a bitch as well.
I think it's something
Yeah,
that's
you
viewed
are.
a lot more when people are younger than, let's say like at our age now, because it's like at our age when you're getting with someone, and again, like I don't know how I haven't really been dating like in the dating scene for long, but it's like as you get older, it's like you know what you're looking for in someone, and
No.
other like
I don't think so.
I think you think so.
I think there's it's dependent on
As
person.
you get older, right? You have more experience.
I know people who are older than me who have no idea what they're looking for. It's dependent on the person.
Well, absolutely dependent on the person, but I think what Matt's saying is just majority of the time people tend to figure out.
Like people are like, I know what I'm looking for in a partner. So when I meet someone and when we click, like, it's not. I think it's gonna be like if that's how you like if you're able to build that kind of connection. Like I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. If you're able to, like you said, Lucas, if you're able to feel that kind of comfort, and build off of emotions with someone, on a first date like that.
Yeah. If you're able to be
I think
vulnerable,
that's a good thing than it is a bad thing.
yeah, if you're able to connect early and be vulnerable with someone early, I think that's a good thing. You're setting a good basis for a relationship, but I think it's also very situational on how you're being vulnerable. If you're being vulnerable, just being naked.
I think you guys might be looking at it. I'm not disagreeing with you.
It seems like you are.
You might be
I
looking
think
at
you
it
are.
in
That-
more.
Nice shirt. Nice shirt. I think your shirt sucks.
That's the typical preface to someone who's disagreeing is like, I don't want to disagree with you, but
Yeah, you know what? The only time I ever hear I'm not trying to be rude is either they're about to be rude as fuck or R. Kelly's about to sing the start
Oh,
to
yeah, it's a
ignition.
good meme. Good fucking meme. Fuck you, Lucas.
yeah, you're the worst, bro. You're literally the worst.
No, what I was gonna say is yes, big up. No, not you. Stop. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
I think you guys might be looking at it too optimistically, or maybe too much through a lens of your own
Lens
interest,
of
which is
hope?
a good thing. Which, yeah, sure, through lens of hope. I think it really depends on what you're going in with and what your intentions are. For example,
Well,
if
that's a
you're
good
going
point.
in for,
That's a good point to clarify.
right? Like, I think if you're going in with the intention of a hookup and stuff, by all means, cool. Like, yeah, to your point, you're comfortable, you're an adult, you can make whatever decisions you want to make. Great, good for you. But if you're going in looking for something long term and something meaningful, me personally, if she was like, "Yo, you trying to bump bellies tonight?" I'd be like, "Whoa!" Like,
What if you had that level of connection that it was just like sparks fly, like it's like a interaction you've never felt that way before about.
then sure, that's, but yeah, if there's something like that where
Like,
it's
yeah, I
like,
agree. Like it's not my like, I'm not. I think gonna go into a date being like, I hope this is what happens.
yeah,
But if it's like, if things play out and it's like, holy shit, like I really connect with this person, and they're like, we're both ready to take it. Like I wouldn't see this, but like I wouldn't judge someone.
Let's
for
be
being,
honest
like,
though,
for being
you
like,
shave
No, I
either
wouldn't
way.
ju-
You
no, I
shave
wouldn't
either
judge
way
you.
though.
you never know.
Let's be
man.
honest,
You never-
because
you
I think
never
everyone's
know.
guilty of you shave either way. Like you don't expect it.
Last
you
thing you want to
shave
do is be
after-
caught up in a situation and be like, no, I'm not ready.
The Jungle Cruise is real.
my dick looks too small with all the pubes. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I still have that problem when I do shave stuff.
My dick looks too small. Period. Yeah, shame. It's a shame.
Shame, shame.
Shame.
Okay, I was just curious to see what your guys' thoughts were on that.
No, yeah.
I'm curious
think
to
it's
know
something-
how often that. Maybe it's me. Maybe my standards are too high. I don't know. But that moment that you mentioned, Matt, of it being just like a pure connection where you're like, the intensity is like you've never felt before, and you feel okay with it, and it's not like a one night stand. It's like, oh my god, like I'd be redundant just keep saying the connection
So-
is real. But I wonder how often that is.
I'll say one of my exes, it was like, that, but it was
Really?
someone that I had known in the past, which is
So
it's
there's
not-
some foundation.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I would say
I
the
think
same,
actually
though.
all of my exes I've known, like they were all I knew them before I had dated them, so
I had
we
dated.
narrow it down. But yeah, that's the case.
I had dated someone who was relatively new, but I felt like we had such a great connection where it's almost like after the second date, I felt like I knew them for months, and she
See-
felt the same way. I felt like it was just more like we were both comfortable with it. We both really enjoyed each other's company. We both liked each other a lot. Where it just like one thing led to another. Like it wasn't like we were both intending on it to happen. It just like we
It
both
happened.
just
That's-
yeah.
and
It
that's
just happened.
exactly what it was.
It's very hard to
just
say.
went.
It's
Yeah.
the saying one thing leads to another. I don't believe in all the time, but like it was one of those things where it's like literally
One thing
like,
led to another.
one thing led to another. Like
See, the reason I don't, I mean, I personally wouldn't act on such, I guess, urges.
okay,
Um,
born
since-
again. This guy's born again.
Yeah, born again. No, it's because early in a relationship, it's very easy. Like the thing that I would be concerned about is it's very easy to fill in the blanks, and I feel like everyone's guilty.
Oh,
of
I
it.
filled in the blanks. Let me tell you.
You don't film in very well there, pube face.
Oh, my
Oh, we're on the
God.
playground this episode. My bad.
No,
Yo,
that wasn't even a
uh,
playground. That was a straight up attack.
As a funny joke, when I did ironworking in Saskatchewan years ago, my nickname on the site was Pubes. Because of my facial hair.
That's
No joke.
amazing.
It's funny because that's your nickname on the podcast too. So
That's his nickname in real life.
when you before
That's
you
his
showed up,
legal
we're
name.
like, yo, where's pubes?
Yo,
at?
it's actually in my LinkedIn. It's in between my first and last name.
Yeah, that's his middle name. No, but for real, I feel like everyone is guilty to some degree of building this expectation of a person. You fill in all the blanks before you really get to know them, and you're in this honeymoon stage. And sure, things might connect, and you might be like, "Oh my God, Lucas is so funny," this and that. And then they're
Don't lie like that. Don't even
like,
make
this
this
is-
like that
this
joke
is-
is so bad. Don't even make
this
that.
is the girls that he's dated with very low standards.
Extremely low.
Christina, if you're listening now, you could do better.
She's like, I know.
Do something to it. No, but like then there's this, yeah, like you find something that you're attracted to, and then you want it to work, so then you start to build this character around them. You're like, oh my God, yeah, oh, Lucas is the man of my dream. He always has been. We're hitting it off. We gon' fuck tonight. And
Lucas
then
is gonna clip strictly that and play it at your ear.
fuck.
I know. You
then
know why
you
you
hear
guys can
something.
never work out? Let me play this clip for the family.
Well, yeah, for my fucking nieces. but then you ultimately find out that they are not the person that you had created in your head, and I'm not trying to discredit whatever feelings those were that drove you to do whatever you did, but it begs the question, like, was it real? Was I just, lost in the moment and let my mind run?
Sorry.
That's why I would be weary of doing things like
That's
that.
fair.
It depending on what your intentions are. If your intentions are to go in for something serious, then by all means. But if you're going in for something serious, I would urge being cautious. But if it's not, do whatever you want to do. Chase good feelings. I love that.
I've never been I've never gotten into something with the intention of it not being a serious thing. The only time that it happened was when the other person thought it was more than that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is not."
I think that's
Sorry. Say that again. How did?
So when I was like, I never like really like casually dated. I would say this has been like a thing. This is just kind of the person I am. I never casually dated. Like everyone I've been with has always been
Intentions
like a long term.
Got it.
Like I don't think I've dated someone for less than.
I think that's what's good about our group of friends is that we had typically always gone for the right intentions. It's just that it would always be the other party that would decide otherwise.
Yeah, there was one person that thought it was more serious. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I gave you these false. I'm like, this is not at all.
Aren't you contradicting what you just said then?
And then I said, no, because
you were saying now that it wasn't serious.
Like I was, sorry, like I didn't look at it as a relationship either. Like it was more like we were fooling around and shit.
So then it wouldn't be serious.
No, I know. Sorry, what I'm saying though is that I never went into it with the intention of it being a relationship or anything like that.
Okay.
I see.
Okay.
It's like yeah. Whereas everyone else or everyone that I like said I want to or I've thought about being a partner with them.
Yeah.
It was something that I had in the back of my mind. Where this was one thing that the one time I think in my entire life that it was like a hookup. We'll call it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But then it got to the point where they're like,
I guess?
Sure, we'll call it. And then they were like, so like, it was the whole like, what are we? And I was like, whoa, like, I never even looked at it like.
We're
this.
dinosaurs,
just,
baby.
We're done. We're fucking done. That's
get out.
It was like one of those where it was like, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't like that. But like, you trying to get some dick or what?
I've been waiting for it and it's never showed up.
You're like, I'm trying my best.
My Amazon tracking doesn't work. It said it was supposed to be here.
No, I don't know. Like, I never really liked the concept of friends with benefits for the reason of when you are physical, it creates dopamine and which in return creates emotional connection. Like to have proper like physical connection, there has to be something with emotion due there. And I think even when
I'm a big believer on that, but I don't. I mean, time I was drunk.
It doesn't mean emotional as in you're in love with this person. It means that you enjoy this person's company, like you emotionally connect with this person, right? Like there's mutual feelings, and even when I had been in that situation where I had gone in for a real relationship, it had not been that. I had carried on, and eventually I left, and then it's like I don't know, like people will get connected at the worst times, and it's not always reciprocate on both sides. It's like when you become friends with an ex, sometimes it's not always we're both have the same feelings of we're friends. It's one party of that feels like there could be something more lingering, right? And it's you never know. You know your side, you don't know the other side ever.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, so those are my points. That's all the conversation leaders that I had for today.
It's okay, Lee's frozen.
Yeah, Lee is frozen.
Enjoying that fucking drink. How is it, babe?
Did you guys have any specific topics around sexuality that you want to talk about?
Since Lee's frozen, I'll take the wheel here.
Well, this is a long freeze too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Should we all mimic his? Oh, let's mimic. Is it this hand? No, other hand. There he is.
There he is.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
What the hell happened?
You froze, and we all mimicked. We mimicked the way your screen shot. I'm gonna clip it for sure.
So, did you have any topics that you had? I said those were my 3 points that I brought up. That was all I had.
Those were your ones?
3, not 1, 3.
Yeah, Lee. I don't know if you noticed. We talked about a lot of stuff.
We did. I've been having fun. One of the things I wanted to talk about is just personal stories.
Okay.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
what?
like a specific like.
Yeah, like I don't know. Sure, let's say first time. What was it like? How nervous were you? I mean, I don't want your
First time for sex?
I don't want your details, but yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay. I have
There was
like
blood everywhere, baby.
one time that I there's one time that I like it was so I don't even know if I can count it, but like we tried to do stuff. This was in grade 10, maybe grade 11, and it was on Valentine's Day, and I went to my girlfriend's house or my girlfriend's place at the time with her
Oh my
parents.
god. What kind of chocolates?
And her parents literally came home, and I had to hide in the closet like R. Kelly. Like, no joke.
No way.
And then they found me, and then they drove me home. Yeah, no joke.
Bro, that's insane.
And that was the first time like I had tried anything I had tried like actual like sex. Like before, there was some
Foreplay?
yeah, foreplay, and we'll call it what's that?
Cunnilingus?
Fellatio. Yeah,
Fellatio.
cunnilingus. Yeah. Fellatio, whatever. In the past and before that, but up until that point, yeah, that was the first time.
What were you feeling as far as emotions?
Oh, like I had no idea what I was doing. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then from then, I didn't like ever do anything like that again until I started like my girlfriend through university, like when I first year of university. Well, I was like, I'm sorry, like this is kind of like my first time. I like legit said like this is like literally like my first time. The other time, like nothing.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never do this before, no.
Yeah, exactly. I've
Good
Wet
song.
Dreams, the whole song applied to me, but yeah, and then from there it was I basically turned into a sexual monster since then.
It's Godzilla!
It's because a sexual monster. That's amazing. I've never seen a monster with such a little hair on his chest.
I have no hair.
Not even
I
Nicki
have more hair
Minaj
on my
that
face than I do like
Monsterverse?
on my arms.
Yeah.
That's not saying much, but yeah, that was like what my first time.
How about you, Lee?
Okay, so before we go into the first time, it's the thing leading up to the first time. So this was maybe like 2 weeks before.
2 weeks ago.
Our first, yeah, 2 weeks before our first time. And I'll be completely honest, I don't care. I was a late bloomer. I think the first time, I may have been 19. I think I was 19.
You took a beer before you took a vagina?
I didn't start
Yes.
drinking until I was like late 18 or final year, first year of university. So like
Yeah. So, this is like my first girlfriend ever. I've never fucking like touched a girl or anything. I'm sure I held girls' hands and kissed a girl in middle school, but that doesn't fucking count. So we're at my house and we're both cuddling on the couch watching a movie, and I'm Big Spoon, she's Little Spoon. And my heart's fucking racing, and I'm sure she could feel it just fucking pounding.
Yeah, why you punch me in the back, Lee?
Yeah, I'm sure she could tell. I'm just, whew. And we're cuddling under the blankets, and I'm just being so innocent. And this girl taking me for a fucking ride. She's like, hey, like, I'm really hot. Do you mind if I take my pants off? And I was like, okay, comfortable, that's fine. So she takes her pants off, so now she's just like in her top and in her underwears, gets back under the blankets, we're spooning again. But I will not touch her, because that is inappropriate. She's just hot, Lee. She just wants to be comfortable. So okay, that's fine. That's fine. And I apologize to any of my relatives who are going to go and listen to this story, but sorry, we're all about honesty here.
Funny enough, sorry, just to jump in, when I was at my cousin's cottage for the time, they're like, oh, like, what's your podcast? But like, where can I watch it? I was like, there are some episodes, like, I don't know if you want to watch it. This is one of them.
It's like that. This is one of them, yeah. So then after she's like, you can like put your hand up my shirt if you want. And I was like, oh, sick. Okay.
What's there?
And I'm like too nervous to move. I can't even move. I'm just like, okay. And she literally takes my hand, puts it up her shirt over her breast.
Instantly.
And I was like, oh my God. But like, I'm still like, I'm over her bra. I'm still over her bra. And dumb fuck Lee at the time. First words out of my mouth are, nice bra. And she's like, this fucking guy. And I kept my hand there for maybe like 5 minutes over the bra, and then I pulled my hand back out, back to hugging her, finished the movie, and we didn't do anything that night. We didn't do a goddamn thing. But she was her best friend. Her best friend, I was like buddies with her best friend's boyfriend. So the very next day, I have an opening shift at Home Depot. So does her best friend's boyfriend. And he walks up to me and he's like, haha, nice bra. And I was like, no, you know? God damn it. Like,
News travels fast, bud.
Yeah, news travels
That's
fast.
hilarious.
Yeah, man, especially with a nice bra like that.
It was a nice bra. She spent money on that bra. It was nice. But yeah, I was nervous. So like, I guess
fair.
the moral of my story is like, for anyone, if I can help any young kid out there who thinks they gotta be fucking Macho Man Randy Savage on the first time, you'll get to it, man. Don't worry about being
take your
nervous. Yeah, if you
Don't
suck,
rush.
you suck. Like,
Yo, honestly, I'd
you'll
say,
be a sexual monster like Matty in no time.
I'd say a good word of advice is if a girl's willing to go on a second or third date, she likes you. Just take that with a grain of salt. Like, take that how you will. I'm not saying like go in for putting a dick in her mouth when she's saying hello, but like, you know, like, like she likes you back. Okay?
Wait, when do you get to that stage of a relationship?
Yeah,
I've never
are
had
you
that.
there?
Date number 4. Date number 4. That's what it's called. Date number 4 for foreplay, baby.
That's it.
Oh.
Stop. God damn it.
Because, like, this is what I want you to do with my dick.
And she's like, I think you've got this all figured out. I think you know what you want. You can handle it yourself.
So for me, it would be my first physical relationship was I was dating a girl. She went to a different high school. You wouldn't hear about it, obviously, you know, that kind of deal.
You wouldn't know her.
You wouldn't know her. No, but sincerely, like I used to go pick her up. She went to the high school across from mine. And we were watching Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is a terrible movie with Nicolas Cage, by the way. It came out in 2010.
What better thing to set the mood than Nicolas Cage? Baby.
And so she was over at my house, and my whole family was home. My brother, my mom, my stepfather. And it was so funny because, like, I told my parents they were coming, like, she was coming over, and they forgot. And they're like, oh, we didn't make enough food. Let's warm her up some chicken strips. So we had chicken strips. We went to my room.
Tell me in the microwave, like, not even in, like, the oven. Like,
Of course. My parents think that when there's
Like,
microwavable
look at this
instructions,
dick.
it means they're
You
microwavable,
should.
period. So we had chicken strips from the microwave, and we had some schnitzel, which, like, the same thing, just different sizes, I guess. But anyway, so we had that. We went back to my room, and we were eating. She ate her half, I ate mine. And eventually, like, I, like, had, like, my foot on her lap. And she was like, oh, this is nice. You know where your foot should go. And she kind of, like, led it towards the goods. And I was, like...
your foot should go.
I was, like, 15 at the time.
She didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah, we both didn't. We had no clue. So, like, we were watching Sorcerer's Apprentice. Nicolas Cage is so handsome. So, obviously, I was turned on. And yeah, like we had just, I guess, like we had both put our foot on each other's laps and basically led it to the right spot.
You basically gave each other foot jobs.
Essentially.
The first time?
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
then eventually, like, that was foreplay. So we're like we should get to the real deal. And yo, as backup, check this out. I have the book right here. So I was like, yo, sit on my lap, and I'll, if my parents come in, I'll pretend like I'm showing you my my Pokemon collection. And so she sat on my lap, and I had my Pokemon collection, like, ready to go. Bro, ghastly. Look at this bad boy. And she had, like, sat on my lap, and basically, I had started, like, using my hands. I'm not going to go into detail on what we did.
You're pretty much
we
you're
said
pretty
we
much
don't
giving
wanna
it to
hear
us.
Yeah,
You're pretty much
I
giving
use
it to
I
us.
use my
We started with a
hands.
foot
I use
job.
my
We
hands
started with a foot job.
to spread her mouth,
Stop, no.
like the
stop.
predator. No, like obviously I'd use my hands, and while she was moaning, like, my mom knocked on the door. I'm like, Pikachu, I choose you, and like we like turned around to the door, and like my mom opened it, and she was sitting on my lap, and I was showing her my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm like, I'm just showing her my Yu-Gi-Oh, my Pokemon card collection. Sorry, I said Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon card collection. And I was like, okay. And my mom started talking to us about her favorite Pokemon, which is Vaporeon. And it got like super weird because my mom like had like the door open for like 10 minutes and we're both like just like staring at her, like talking to her about it. And that was like my first sexual interaction. It was great. I recommend it. 10 out of 10. What's your guys' favorite Pokemon?
Wow.
What kind of transition was
That
that?
was a fucking roller coaster.
So you guys don't know your favorite Pokemon then?
No.
I think Gengar is my favorite Pokemon, but I had Gengar slippers.
Is it because
And
it
not when I
rhymes
was
with
a kid.
ginger
I
and
mean,
you
like,
dated
when-
a ginger?
When I moved in, when I moved into our house here, I had Gengar slippers. For sale.
Yeah, you did.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you remember those. Or I hate you too, but
Yeah.
excuse me.
Wow. Yikes.
That's the sound Gengar makes, actually.
That's it.
That was my impression.
And he says, excuse me?
I want to build off of that. Sorry, actually, Lee, what's your favorite Pokemon?
And I'll probably hit Munlee, to be honest.
I thought he said
name
Geodude
is in
because
it,
he looks
that's
like you.
Oh, well, that's why. Blastoise is also badass.
Okay, do you guys have any funny like sexual encounter stories? Because I got Lucas. I know you actually said one on a recent podcast, but I've got one that I think I may have told you guys in person. I haven't on the internet yet, so sorry to my ex if you do see this. And think when I was working out in Saskatchewan and I came home, I was out for 11 weeks, so I hadn't seen my partner or my girlfriend at the time then. And at that time, I was early 20s, and just due to our living space, Jake and I still shared a bunk bed, and Jake is 9 years younger than me. So Jake's probably
Great.
Jake is maybe like 12. Maybe
So you just
11.
made out with Jake instead.
Yeah. So she was there my ex is there at the airport. We go home, and actually we got burrito boys, and then we were hanging out, drinking, catching up, and we go to bed. And obviously we wanted to do the biz because it's been so long. And she gives me quite the BJ, and then we do the rest of the story, whatever. And then my mom tells me, like, I don't know how much later, but she tells me she tells me the story. She's like, Jake came up to me and was like, he knows what making out is. And I was like, oh, like what did she say? And he's like, I saw Matt and his girlfriend making out. And she's like, how'd you know they were making out? And Jake was like this. She was like, what's even funnier is like Jake's like, I want to make out with like these.
No way.
yeah. So Jake probably like going like, hey, I want to make out. I've seen my brother make, and then they start she tries to make out. He's like, whoa, this is how my brother makes out.
Get the business. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes me even more of a monster for like trying to do that stuff where my little brother's in the bunk.
Yeah, absolutely, you're a monster.
You can wake him up. Not even that big. There's no way you're choking on it.
Don't lie to me, woman.
How about you, Lee?
That doesn't make me feel any better.
Funny stories. My dad will kill me if I ever tell this story.
Is the plunger one?
So, this guy just told the punchline. This guy literally just told the punchline.
That's fucked, dude. You
Sorry.
ruined this whole joke.
I mean,
What a monster.
Is this the
Not even a sexual monster. You're just a monster.
Is this the Charizard one?
Whatever, I'll tell the story anyways, and hopefully my dad forgives me. So this might have been like the second time being my...
Ever?
Yeah, this might have been like my second time ever. And we're, getting hot and bothered. Almost in the nude. We're both just in our underwear. And it's like... No, okay, so it's like 2 in the morning. Everyone in my house should be asleep right now.
Should be.
Should be. 2 in the morning.
Could not be. That's close to devil's hour.
Yeah, I know, right? Get the fuck to sleep. What are you doing? 2 in the morning. We're going at it. And then, boom, out of nowhere, my door just goes flying open and the lights flick on. And I was like, startled. So I like rolled over, like, ah! I look over and like pull the blanket on top of like me and my girl. And then my dad's standing at the door, frantic, because I'm like, oh, fuck. And he's also like, oh, fuck. And we're both just doing this like awkward shuffle.
Fuck.
No.
You guys are like, oh, fucking?
Yeah. And literally all he says is, "I'm just looking for the plunger." And
Yeah, he was.
And I was like,
He was.
"You found it."
That's my middle name, baby.
No, I didn't do that.
No, tell me you said that. That would have been fucking primo.
Are you kidding me? I'm shitting my pants at this moment. The only thing I said was like, "It's not here," and he's like, "Oh," and he like runs away. But then I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, okay, if we weren't doing that, it's still 2 a.m. You're gonna bust in my room and flip on the light, man? Like I'm sleeping, man.
He just exposed himself for clogging the toilet. So embarrassing for him.
But not only that, is this dickhead just gonna wake me up at 2 a.m. to get the plunger? Like, fuck,
Wait,
man,
why
I'm
would the
sleeping.
plunger be in your room?
Oh, I have an ensuite.
It's like-
I have an ensuite in my room, or had in my other room.
Oh, okay.
I should've.
That explains a little more.
Just keep it beside the bed. You never.
Yeah, wait. If
You
you
never know.
just clog it all the time, you just have like an extra in your room. Like you have like a designated one to bring with you.
Some people sleep with guns under their
Whoa,
pillow.
whoa,
Mine's a
whoa,
plunger.
whoa,
I
whoa,
Is
dare
that
you.
attached to
No.
a keychain?
What Lee actually does during like kinky sex is he like puts on the girl's forehead, so it's like it just like sticks up, and then he like starts like Eskimo kissing it. He's like, "Oh
She's like
yeah,
she's a
oh,
unicorn."
Plunge me, baby."
Always want to fuck a unicorn.
She wakes up in the morning with a big red ring on her forehead, and everyone's like, "Good morning." She's like, "Oh, hi."
I did some acupuncture.
Yeah.
For me.
Lucas, do you have another one that you haven't told? Because
I
you
have.
told some pretty funny
I do,
ones.
I do. The sexual encounter was one. So I was dating this girl for a little bit, and we had come back to my house. The reason why is because my mom had been in Poland, so I had just my stepfather in the house, and he had actually gone to a friend's house. So he was like, "Yo, I'll be back at like midnight. I'm gonna go to my friend's for like a glass of wine, drink, and just talk." I was like, "Oh, he's gone for a little bit." So I invited this girl over who I was dating at the time, and she had shown up after her shift. She came in scrubs because she was working as a how do you say, like an at-risk student helper, where they had to wear scrubs for their job. I don't know why. Anyway, and we had some fun that night. Like I'm not gonna go into detail what we did.
Like you played Yahtzee?
Like, yeah. We're playing board games in my room. We watched YouTube videos of James Charles Beef.
You showed her your Pokemon cards. That's sick.
I actually did. That's a go-to. As soon as they see my Mew collection, after they see my Mew collection, they know it's worth thousands, so they're down.
Want to see my Diglett?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're hanging out. Then we had started getting physical, and after, like, no joke, like, we had finished being physical and we're cuddling, and 5 seconds later, my stepdad came back into the house at like 10, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And she was so nervous because she expected no one home, so we left her shoes at like the front door, and my stepdad come back in the house being like, "Oh, are you alone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And this girl was like hiding in under my bed covers, and I felt so bad for her. But anyway, my stepdad's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get the mail." I'm like, "Listen, he's gone. It's our one opportunity to leave the house." So like, we had both run down the stairs, put on her shoes. She ran into like the passenger seat of my car, and then I ran into my car as well because we were gonna like drive, and I was gonna drive her to her car because it was parked like around the block. Excuse me. And as we're leaving my street, my stepdad was coming back from getting the mail, so he wanted to talk to me, and he was like, "Hey!" He was like waving me down, and like I was like, "Oh my god!" So like I'm like, the switch by your seat, like put it down. So she had like reclined like full like like laying down, and he had come to like the driver's seat like window to come talk to me, and I'd like put my like elbow on the thing and tried to like cover up as much as possible to pretend like she wasn't there. And we're just talking, like shooting the show. I'm like, "Hey, how's like your friend's house?" He's like, "Oh, I had a great time. Like, what'd you do?" And I was like, "Oh, like I watched a movie, Sorcerer's Apprentice round 3 or whatever, at this point." And I was like,
It's your go-to.
it's my go-to. Like Nicolas Cage gets me on, and we're just talking and whatever. And he like legit like went like, "Oh, cool. Who is that?" I was like, oh,
for nothing.
it's my friend, and she like
She was legit like one of these, right? Like,
yeah. And she legit
She's really tired.
She legit didn't say anything. Like she like pretended like she
that's
couldn't be
even
seen.
worse.
I was like, yo, like you're not like a raccoon. Like we can see you. And I was like, oh,
Wait, why, you can't see raccoons?
So we're speaking in Polish, so this also makes it hard for her to understand that like she could be seen, but he sees her. And I was like, oh, like it's no one. Don't worry about it. And like he went
It's
back.
no one.
He went back. Well, because we're speaking Polish, so she doesn't even know that she's seen. She thinks she's invisible. Can't see me, right? So like,
I'd like, I'm disappointed you didn't take the same approach that Carl took. Carl said, "What a lame stepdad! I'd high-fived you and then tried to get a taste myself."
A taste of Lucas or a taste of the girl?
a taste of me, obviously.
Yeah, please clarify. Please clarify.
Please clarify that.
So yeah, then we had driven off, and yo, it was a great night because we went to go get Lizzie's. I'm like, yo, have you ever had chicken on the rocks? She's like, no. I'm like, perfect. let me show you what's good. And we're eating it, and I was talking to her about like, I'm like, how do you feel about the whole interaction we just had? She's like, I'm so fucking uncomfortable. I'm like, ah, he didn't even know you were there. You're good. I came back home, and he's like, so the shoes I saw when I went to go get the mail, they're gone. Who was over? I was like, oh, this girl I was talking
Your
to.
mom.
And he's like, oh, how? And,
I was fucking thinking that.
and he was
dude.
legit like he's like, how'd it go? Like, what'd you do? And like, I just told him the details. I'm like, yo,
You do the whole like.
Yeah, I was like,
The fuck. The first
Dude,
and
I don't
last
know-
I kissed
don't
her.
think-
I
I don't
kissed
know
her.
what
I
that
kissed
is.
her
Like, I
normal.
don't
That's
know
how I
what that
kissed
is.
girls. I kissed her. So
Poor ladies.
Yeah, I'm
How
sorry.
else
I
do you
wanted to
kiss a
see
girl's
that. We might have
forehead?
to censor. We might have to censor that.
Yeah, but if we could pixelate that, that would be amazing. That'd be so good.
so yeah. Then I came back and I had to explain to him the whole situation. And I never told her that he knew.
Yo, what if instead though? Sorry, what if instead of just pixelating his tongue, we just pixelate the whole face?
For the whole podcast.
I'll make it happen. I'm the one who edits the videos, so it's really my choice.
Yeah, that's rough. That's getting caught's never fun.
Have you
I
ever been?
apparently got caught. I had told that we were caught, but I didn't know.
Give
I
us
mean,
the details.
you obviously had gotten caught, but
Several
no, it was just one of
times.
the. It was just one of those with one of my exes that like we were allowed in her room, and apparently like we were just in the moment, and like her mom had like freaked open the door and saw them like shut the door right after, but like we didn't hear it, so we didn't even know. So after her mom told her, she walked in and saw.
Yeah, you know what's,
Yeah, she saw the whole encounter. It was like not even 30 seconds. It was amazing.
what's crazy
I mean,
is
I
that
thought so.
that same night that my dad came looking for the plunger, I kid you not, that same night, like
You call it a toilet?
maybe
It
an
was you?
hour later, half hour, 45 minutes later, I get a knock on my door because like we decided we're like, okay, let's try and get back into this after like maybe 10 minutes of being like, fucking want to kill myself. Half hour, 45 minutes later, I get a knock at the door. I'm like, what? It's like almost 3. Well, what? Who's awake? And then I hear the door open. I was like, yo, hold up. And it's pitch black because the lights are up. And I could just tell. I can't see, but it's pitch black. But I could just tell as soon as I said, hold up, my brother's standing in the doorway all awkward and shit. And there's a moment of silence, and he's just like, yo, can I get my toothbrush? And I was like, go get it. And he like runs in because the toothbrush runs back out. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like twice in one night? Like you guys just keep fucking.
You know,
fighting.
the only thing is, I think your girl texted your family being like, yo,
Nah, I'm not
help,
into this.
help.
Honestly.
Yeah, this sucks, dude.
Man, I remember like maybe it might have been like 4 or 5 months. Like we were deeper into the relationship at this point. Had been physical a great many a times. And then I can tell when my mom throws subtle hints at me. But like this one morning on the weekend, I get up, go to the bathroom, take a piss, brush my teeth, go downstairs, talking with my mom and my sister-in-law. And my mom's like, she's like, hey, wow, Lee, like I had no idea how thin the walls are. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, man, I could hear you taking a pee from upstairs. Yeah, the walls are real thin in here. I was like, oh my God, she's heard me every time. That's what she's telling me. I could tell. I just know exactly what she's telling me.
Yeah. One of my cousins actually, he was living at our house when he was doing trade school. And he had a chick over and was referred to as, from then on, she was referred to as a screamer. Because she apparently was so loud that my mom got up, and like heard it and got up because she thought it was my sister. And then when she walked out and heard it wasn't, she's like, okay, whatever. But then the next morning she was like, so, how was your night, Mr. Screamer? Like, no fucks here. Like, called out right there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then she came up the stairs.
No, she'd left already.
No, you told me the story differently.
I don't know. I wasn't there. So maybe I told it wrong in the past, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
told
actually
a
know the
Lucas
details.
story. This guy told a
This guy
fucking
lied.
Lucas story.
I somehow know the
Yeah, I
story
told
better,
a
but if I
Lucas
tell a
story.
story, I'm a piece of shit liar, so...
Yeah, that's for sure.
So yeah, but yeah, that's always the fear, is that someone's gonna hear you. And actually, that's happened to me
Yeah.
at this house.
That's why what I do is...
So we've all
so-
heard that story.
when I'm home alone, I just moan into my room, so my parents always assume.
I'm just eating spaghetti, Mom. Just eating spaghetti.
Like, I'll spill some
Sweet
water
dog.
on my shoes, and I'll be
Sweet
like, that's why it's called H2. Oh my god.
Fucking hell.
Fuck, dude, that's brutal.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What about Lucas? Have you ever been caught other than the scenario you gave too?
I've been caught looking at porn.
Oh, that's like, I think that's worse.
One time.
Yeah, it is.
You know
It's
what's funny?
it's so
You know
much
what's funny?
worse.
Like, I was looking at porn, but I wasn't doing anything about it. Like, I was just looking.
That's even worse.
Yeah,
That's no,
it
it's
was so awkward.
even
'Cause, like,
worse.
I was like looking at
Browsing.
stuff. And,
Looking for the art?
And my mom, like,
That
my
dick is
mom,
in his hand too.
no, it's like I remember specifically. It's like a girl like getting some whipped cream on her face, I guess, in non-sexual context. And my mom had walked in to put away laundry, and I was trying to close it, and I kept missing the X, so it was like open the whole time. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just watching a girl walking into a tunnel." And my mom's like, "Okay."
Yup.
Yeah, it's super awkward because like you try to like make it as less awkward as possible, but you try to reveal too much information, which makes it even worse. So like my mom would look back at me while she's like hanging my clothing. She's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, I think we all been there, but like, you know, I think we grew up with like knowing incognito and stuff. My younger brother did not. He used to use my mom's phone, and like she would like go on her phone after and be like all this like big tits and shit. And he was young. He was like 12 or something.
Oh,
No, you're saying that, but the same brother had also named his Xbox name Autumn Falls, which is a
yeah, but he
porn
just doesn't
star.
give a fuck. He just doesn't give a fuck.
It's a porn
power
star.
move. It's a power move.
Yeah.
Oh shit. That's a good point. Actually, good call. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck. But
We should all aspire to be
I'll
more
never
like him.
forget one time. I'll never forget this one. He, I think we had like a party or whatever, and I went up to go upstairs, and this again we had the bunks, and this dude was asleep on my bed with his boxers like on his ankles and like his junk in his hand, and I was like, oh really?
In your bed?
Like, oh my god, yeah, please.
No. Oh, we had this one story where we
I'm sorry
had.
for calling it out like that, man. Like, I hope you never like. You know,
No,
No.
give me a
But, yeah,
minute. Give me a
it's-
minute.
so funny.
We had a similar story actually in Ohio.
I walked in, I was like, Jesus Christ, bro.
That is
The
insane.
blankets
That's,
and the blankets too are like on his feet, like.
bro, you're the little bro now. He's the big bro. Like
Dude.
you're his bitch.
Yo, we had a story like this in Ohio. So Matty, and another coworker, John Zoo, and I.
This guy just outs him like that.
Yeah, John. What's
Guy
up?
just outed
What's
him
up,
so
baby?
hard.
So we had gone for a business
Tag his
trip
Insta. You might as well.
to the States. And what happened was we had gone super drunk one night. And I'm also underage, by the way. I'm 20, and in the States, drinking age is
You're
21.
incriminating everyone right now.
It's fine.
What the fuck?
It's so weird that I've been, like, legally plastered in Canada, but in the States I can't even have a sip of a drink. It's stupid.
Oh, anyways.
So, we had gone so drunk that even our chief financial officer was so plastered in the morning, he called in sick and he was walking around the parking lot to walk off the tequila.
puked.
Yeah, and anyway, we had gone to work the next day. We worked in a warehouse where all three of us were like basically team leads. Like we all had owned a team of our own. And we're talking about what happened the night before, and one of our associates was like, or one of our colleagues was like,
You might as well just say his name. You've already.
He's like, yo, I'd gone so drunk that I had literally passed out with like my dick in my hands, and I was completely naked on top of my bed watching Teletubbies or some shit. We're like, what the fuck?
No. I think he said he had Pornhub on his phone, like he was searching for a video. And, like,
yeah.
Fell asleep.
And yo,
no, that night was fucked, bro. I actually, it was one of the few nights I showered with my shoes were on, my shoes were soaked. Yeah, like I woke up in the middle of the night, my shower was on, my shoes were in the shower. I was like, what the? I had puked all along the side of the hotel bed. So I literally left a note in the morning because I got up in the morning. I was like, what the fuck happened? I literally wrote a note and said, I'm sorry with a sad face.
And
I left it on the puke. Like
and for
now
me,
the lady's gotta go pick the paper up too. She's like, this fucking asshole.
And for me,
and then oh sorry, I was gonna say, and then later that day, the colleague that I'm not gonna out his name like Lukasz did, he was literally to me, he's like, yo, don't talk to anyone. He's like, you smell like liquor, like you smell like rum. He's like, just wait till like lunch, but like don't talk to anyone. I was like, is that bad? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm like, holy shit.
Damn.
And for me, the same night, I had passed out in the shower fully clothed, but water draining down on me, and I had passed out with one sock on my bed, and everything else was on, and the water just like coming down on me, like, and I was just like in the shower, like passed out face down.
God damn, what a good company.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they went out of business. Who knows? But anyways.
Yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah. It's
wow.
But that's another episode.
We ran out of time real quick.
Maybe we gotta do a part 2. There's probably a bunch of shit we wanted to talk about that we didn't.
Absolutely.
But thanks y'all for tuning in. Carl, you know, thanks for tuning in late. You missed a lot. You might have to go rewatch this one. I think this was a good one. I thought that was some great.
I had a blast.
Great insight. I mean, I always have a blast. So Lee basically just outed that he doesn't have a blast. So.
No, sometimes when Lukasz talks too much, it's not a good episode. But this was a good one.
I agree.
But thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. I don't know, Ruckus.
God bless. Have a good night.
8 Town Down.
Bye.